In this video, I want to talk about solving algebraic equations. And so before we begin that, I just want to talk quickly about what's involved in algebraic expression. There's a subtle difference between an expression and an equation. So an algebraic expression doesn't have an equal sign in it. So in this case, we have an algebraic expression that consists of some specific elements. I'm going to circle them separately so that we can talk about them. The first element is the variable. Variable is essentially a way that we describe some sort of a quantity, and that quantity can take any value whatsoever. So if my x takes value of 1, then this expression will take form of 5 times 1 minus 3. If my variable, for instance, takes value of 6, then my expression is going to turn to 5 times 6 minus 3, and so on. So that's the first element, the variable. The second element, the one in red, is the number that's stuck to the variable, and that is a coefficient. That's just the name we give to the number that multiplies the variable. And finally, in green, we have a constant. Constant is a numerical value that doesn't change in an algebraic expression. So, having said that, we can move on to our equations. An equation is an algebraic expression that has an equal sign included in it. And that equal sign tells us something very specific. And it tells us that there exists a value for which the variable, value that we can put in for the variable, for which this expression will be true. So that means that there is only one value that variable can take in this equation that will make this equation true. And the equation is true when the left-hand side, so the left-hand side, is the same as the right-hand side. And to solve an equation, we manipulate the left-hand side and the right-hand side to arrive at a situation where on one side we have just the variable, and on the other side we have just a number. And it doesn't matter whether the number is on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side. So essentially, solving an equation is trying to find out the value of the unknown variable for which this equation is true. Okay, so how do we do that? And that's what we're going to talk about now. First thing to recognize is that equation is like a little balance. So the left-hand side is in balance with the right-hand side. What it means is that the numerical value of this expression when the solution for the unknown variable is found, so that number is the same as this number. So if we substitute, let's say 2 in here, we have 5 times 2 minus 3, which is equal to 7. And we substitute 2 in here, we have 2 plus 5 equals to 7. That's what it means that the equation is in balance. Now, we don't know it when we're solving an equation, so we can't really remember. We don't know what the value is. All we need to remember is that the equation is in balance, and we need to keep it balanced while solving the equation. We want to arrive in a situation where, as I said, we have x equals to some number. In this particular case, it's going to be 2, but it's not always going to be the case. So we want to get to this. Or x is on this side, and the solution is on this side. So how do we do that? Well, there are a couple of things that we need to do. The first thing is to recognize that on both sides we have both x's and numbers. We want to end up in a situation where we have x's on one side, the unknowns, and the numbers on the other side. So we have to start moving things around. And when we move things around, we need to remember to keep the equation in balance. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to move minus 3 away from my left-hand side and move it to the right-hand side. So I want to move minus 3 over here so that just x's remain. How do I do that? Well, because I have minus 3 over here, I want to get rid of it. I'm going to add plus 3 on this side. And because I have to do the same thing on both sides, I'm going to add +3 on this side as well. Okay. So now, +3, -3 plus 3, that's just equal to 0. And x plus 5, 5 plus 3, that's equal to 8. So if I look at the result, I'll get that 5x is equal to x plus 8. -3 is now gone. Very good. Another problem is that I want to end up in a situation where on one side I have just x's, and on the other side I have numbers. Take a look over here. I have x's and numbers, so I want to move that x to my left-hand side. The way to do it is to add -x. Might sound a little bit weird when I say to add -x. But take a look. If I have x plus -x, that's equal to x minus x, and that's equal to 0. So if I add -x over here, I'm going to remove that x. And this is the trick. We always add an opposite sign if we want to remove a number from left-hand side to right. Okay, so that's going to move my x to the left-hand side, but I need to remember to keep my equation balanced. So I'm going to have to add -x on this side. If I do that, I'm going to end up with a result of 4x equal to 8. All well and good. I have just x's on one side and just numbers on the other side. The problem is that I have +4 in front of x over here, and I just want to end up with a situation where I have one x only. So I need to do a little bit more transforming of this equation. And the way to deal with this type of situation is to divide both sides by the coefficient in front of the unknown variable. The coefficient of the unknown variable in this equation is +4, so I divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is just equal to 1, and 8, we have to do the same thing on both sides to keep the equation balanced. 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2. So if I look at the resulting equation, is that x is equal to 2. That's my solution to the equation. X equals to 2. This tells me that the unknown variable for which the original equation is true is equal to 2. We can check it by substituting my solution into the original equation. My solution is equal to x. My solution x is equal to 2, and I can put in 5 times 2 minus 3. Is that equal to 2 plus 5? Let's see. 10 minus 3. Is it equal to 7? 7 equals to 7. So left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So this equation is true, which means that we found the correct solution. Okay, let's put it all together. How to solve an equation. I'm going to move my face out of here. How to solve an equation. First of all, we have to write down an equation to solve. Let's look at the example. I have the equation that I want to solve written down. It's 6 times 2x plus 1 plus 4, and that's equal to 3x minus 1. All that's on. Okay. Next thing is to remove the brackets and tidy up the similar terms. Some straightforward algebraic practice. We have to multiply to remove the brackets and then tidy up similar terms. So let's do just that. 6 times 2x is equal to 12x. 6 times 1 is plus 6 and plus 4. On the right hand side I have 5 times 3x is 15x. And 5 times minus 1 is minus 5. Now I can tidy it up. Similar terms are just those constant terms. So I have 12x plus 10. That's all equal to 15x minus 5. Okay, so I have unknown variables and constant on the left hand side and unknown variables and a constant on the right hand side. So I want to move my constants to the left hand side for a change. So to move constants to the left hand side, I have to add plus 5 on the right hand side, and I have to add plus 5 on the left hand side. So when I do that, the plus 5 disappears on the right hand side, and I end up with 12x plus 15, all that equal to 15x. Very good. So next thing is to recognize that move constants to one side. That's done. Next thing is to move unknown variable to the other side of the equation. My constants are here, so my unknowns are going to be on this side. And to move the unknown variable from the left hand side to the right, I have to add the same number to both, and that number is minus 12. So I add minus 12x to the left hand side, and I add minus 12x to the other side. 12x minus 12x is equal to 0. 15x minus 12x is equal to 3x. So I have that 15 is equal to 3x. So that's done. Now I have to divide both sides by the coefficient of the unknown variable. The coefficient of the unknown variable is equal to 3. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So if I do that, I'll get that 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5, and 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1. So that's equal to x. Okay, I have my result, 5 is equal to x. Let's see if it's true by checking the solution. So 6 times 2 times 5 plus 1 is 11. So is it equal to 5 times 15 minus 1? 5 times 14. Plus 4 over here as well. Sorry. 6 times 11 plus 4 is equal to 5 times 14. 66 plus 4 is it equal to 70. 70 equals to 70. So the equation is true. Okay. How to solve an equation? We write it down. We remove the brackets and tidy up similar terms. We move constants to one side and the unknown variables to the other side, making sure that we keep the equation balanced. Then we divide both sides by the coefficient of the unknown variable. And finally, if we need to, we can check the result. Okay, that's it for solving equations. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Asia. Thanks for watching, and until next time.